Good evening. You're watching the News at 6 with me, Shan Russell. The News at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories, and we'll be filling in on them over the next half hour. But first, the headlines that we're tracking right now. To promote speedy implementation of projects, Union Cabinet allows railways to form joint venture companies with state governments. Sanitation workers strike piles up garbage on the streets of Delhi. Aam Aadmi Party government offers 500 crore loan to pay their salaries. Vice President arrives in Bangkok for a 3-day visit to Thailand. Will have meetings with the Thai Prime Minister and top leaders to boost bilateral relations. Ten soldiers buried in an avalanche in the Himalayas near the India-Pakistan border. Incident took place while patrolling a glacier at an altitude of 19,000 feet. And the first case of sexually transmitted Zika virus detected in Dallas City of the United States. The World Health Organization warns of rampant spread of the virus in Africa and Asia. Well, our top story this evening, the Union government has allowed the railways to form joint venture companies with state governments to mobilize resources for speedy implementation of projects. It has also decided that all allocations of coal linkages for non-regulated sectors such as cement, steel and sponge iron, aluminium, etc. will now be auction-based. This amongst a host of other decisions taken by the Union Cabinet, including raising special battalions for Jammu and Kashmir and those states affected by Naxalism. For more on this, let's go across to our correspondent Vishal Daya, who was tracking all those developments at the Union Cabinet meeting. Vishal, as far as government's reform push right before the Union budget, a major step to really boost revenues as far as the railways and even for the state governments are concerned.
Well, yes, Ishan, and in addition to boosting revenues, this would rather much make the implementation of stalled projects much more simpler, because we've seen in the past, as far as railway projects are concerned, there are certain projects which have been pending for quite a few years now, some of them for almost a decade. And there are, as far as railways is concerned, there is a constant demand from several states, be it in terms of new railway tracks, or be in terms of new trains on those tracks, or modernization of the entire railway infrastructure which is present in a particular state. All in all, railways is considered to be not only a very significant mode of transport, but also a very significant area wherein the ratio of employment generation is more, the ratio of revenues is more, and that requires a lot of investment and a lot of planning. One of the major complaints which has been so far from the states is that their views are always not taken on the board. There are always some states, there are always, we see it and we hear it during that discussion on the railway budget inside the parliament as well, year after year. There are several MPs and there are several members of parliament who say that they're not satisfied with what has been given to their states or their areas. Now, by this particular model, wherein there will be a joint venture between the concerned state government and the Ministry of Railways, the state governments will have will have a free hand, or rather a say in deciding as to which way the railway projects will go in their particular states. They can also generate investments. They can also generate finances for those projects, and they will be a stakeholder, an important stakeholder in those specific projects. Another important aspect which this entire decision will deal with is the issue of land acquisition. We've seen in the past as well that certain projects related to railways could not be completed because of the issues with land acquisition. But in this particular case, if it is a joint venture company in which the state government has a stake, then the state government will definitely, come forward and ensure that things move at a much faster pace, so that the stalled projects as well as the new projects are implemented at a much faster pace.
All right, an interesting development over there as far as the Union Cabinet is concerned, but also a host of other decisions taken by the Cabinet as well. Vishal, just run us through those.
Well, another important one which has been taken by the cabinet is related to the coal ministry. Now, this has been a significant development because we have seen how in the past the new government, which is now in the centre, led by BJP and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, had decided to auction the coal blocks after that rap which came in from the Supreme Court cancelling all the coal block allocations which were done earlier during the UPA regime. Now, perhaps taking a cue from that, and also to ensure that all those smaller players or in that unorganized sector, and for example, the steel industry, for example, the sponge iron industry, all those players should also get coal at the market prices. They should not be, they should not be left behind as well when it comes about, supplying coal to those industries are concerned. So what the government has done now is that it has come out with a new coal linkage policy wherein all these players in the unorganized sector, apart from those who are in power and fertilizer sector, all of them will have to, go through the auction route as far as coal linkages are concerned.
Right.
And this is something which is going to be very, very specific to this particular industry, and which the government says that it is not to generate revenues, it is to ensure that there is a level playing field for all the players in this particular field.
All right, Vishal, we leave it there. Thanks very much for that update. Now, the continuing protests by MCD workers have brought Delhi to its knees. Sanitation workers today came out in large numbers in the national capital streets, throwing garbage and filth at major road intersections. Commuters had a harrowing time during peak hours, but the political blame game over the civic crisis refuses to die down. Now, while the Aam Aadmi Party government blames the BJP for instigating the crisis, the opposition BJP and the Congress accuse the Kejriwal government of deliberately curtailing funds to the corporations.
Indefinite strike of MCD workers entered its 8th day, civic services remained closed in the national capital, including critical health facilities. All MCD employees in hospitals, including doctors and nurses, have gone off work, demanding payment of their overdue salaries.
हमारी हड़ताल को 8वां दिन है, उसके बावजूद हमें कोई सैलरी का आश्वासन कहीं से नहीं मिल रहा। हमारा घर चलाना हमारे लोगों के लिए बहुत मुश्किल है।
Sanitation workers too blocked major roads in the national capital, throwing peak hour traffic out of gear. Agitated workers spilled garbage on crucial road intersections, bringing traffic to a standstill in many places. Teachers of MCD schools have also threatened to intensify the stir if a permanent solution is not found soon.
सरकार ने हमें इस हद तक मजबूर कर दिया है कि हम लोग रोड पे उतरकर उनके सारे कर्मचारियों एक साथ मिलकर सभी ने स्ट्राइक करना शुरू कर दिया। 27 तारीख से स्ट्राइक चल रहा है और आज तक चल रहा है, लेकिन केजरीवाल, दिल्ली सरकार और केंद्र सरकार, निगम सरकार किसी के कानों पे कोई जू नहीं रेंग रहा है।
Meanwhile, the political slugfest over the crisis continues. The Aam Aadmi Party has accused the BJP of instigating protests and politicizing the issue. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal even alleged massive corruption in BJP-led civic bodies, saying his government does not owe any money to the workers. He, however, said he would loan 550 crore rupees to the municipal agencies so they could pay the workers.
13-14 में इनको 559 करोड़ रुपए मिले थे दिल्ली सरकार से। 14-15 में इनको 545 करोड़ रुपए मिले थे दिल्ली सरकार से, और हम लोगों ने इस साल इनको 893 करोड़ रुपीस दिए हैं। पिछले 3 साल में हर साल इनको 550 करोड़ रुपए मिलते हैं। हम लोगों ने इनको लगभग 900 करोड़ रुपए दे दिए, ऑलमोस्ट डबल पैसा दिया है। तो एक प्रश्न ये उठता है कि अगर पिछले साल तनख्वाहें दी जा रही थी, पिछले 4 साल से तनख्वाहें दी जा रही थी, तो इस साल डबल पैसा मिलने के बाद भी वो तनख्वाह क्यों नहीं दे पा रहे हैं? ये पैसा गया कहां?
But Kejriwal's solution didn't find any takers in the Congress or the BJP.
He has a historic mandate. In that mandate, there are thousands of things that he and his government can deliver for Delhi and its citizens. But instead of that, he always focuses in finding blame with others or trying to do work which is not in his area of work.
इन्होंने इस वर्ष सिर्फ 1 करोड़ रुपया, एक मजाक है कॉर्पोरेशन के साथ में, 1 करोड़ रुपया सिर्फ बजट एलोकेट किया लोन के लिए। अब जाकर के ये 550 करोड़ रुपए लोन आज इन्होंने दिया है। अगर यही अगर अपने बजट में दे देते, यही अगर वो पहले दे देते, तो आज ये दिक्कत नहीं होती।
Thousands of MCD workers have been on strike for over a week, paralyzing all civic bodies. Their protests have led to mounds of filth piling across the city, giving citizens a harrowing time. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Foreign Secretary S. Jakhar today said that countries that support terrorism must be named and shamed. He made these remarks on the second day of the counter-terrorism conference in Jaipur. Jakhar called for greater international cooperation while pointing out that even so-called victims didn't cooperate in fighting terror on the global level. He mentioned Pakistan in this regard while asking it to share information on the Pathankot airbase attack. Jakhar said the attack had dented the dialogue process between the two countries. President Pranab Mukherjee inaugurated the conference yesterday.
Naming and shaming must be carried out relentlessly in the case of perpetrators, supporters and connivers of terrorism. Tolerance for double standards on this issue must be equally frankly exposed. We have been in touch with the Pakistanis. We have been in touch with the Pakistanis at my level, at NSA's level, and we will remain in touch because it's only by remaining in touch on these sets of issues that we expect them to progress on the basis of information that we have provided to them.
Rescuers are searching for 10 soldiers feared buried in an avalanche in the Siachen Glacier. The soldiers were hit as they patrolled the glacier at an altitude of 19,000 feet. The incident happened early Wednesday morning as the soldiers patrolled the northern part of Siachen Glacier, dubbed the world's highest battlefield. Rescuers from the Army and Air Force are searching for the missing soldiers. Avalanches and landslides are common in the area during the winter season, with temperatures dropping to as low as minus 60 degrees Celsius. Last month, 4 soldiers were killed in an avalanche, while last year another 4 died when their vehicle was buried under an avalanche near Leh. An estimated 8,000 troops have died on the glacier since 1984, many of them from avalanches, landslides, frostbite, altitude sickness or heart failure rather than combat. Now, veteran Congress leader and former Lok Sabha Speaker Balram Jakhar passed away in New Delhi this morning. President Pranab Mukherjee and Prime Minister Narendra Modi condoled the death of the 92-year-old leader. Congress President Sonia Gandhi and Party Vice President Rahul Gandhi also joined leaders across party lines to express sorrow over his demise. Jakhar served as Lok Sabha Speaker from 1980 to 1989, during which he contributed to setting up a Parliament museum. He also served as Agriculture Minister in the Narasimha Rao cabinet and was the Governor of Madhya Pradesh from 2004 to 2009.
मैं समझता हूँ ये मेरे वक्त की सबसे बड़ी हस्ती है। ये पहले स्पीकर थे और जब स्पीकर मैंने ऐसा स्पीकर नहीं देखा जिसने हाउस को इस तरह कंट्रोल किया और बाप की तरह उस हाउस को चलाया। उसके बाद जब ये एग्रीकल्चर मिनिस्टर भी थे, इन्होंने कृषि के लिए जो काम किया, मैं समझता हूँ वो हिस्ट्री में पहली दफ़ा शुरू हुआ था और ये बहुत प्यार रखते थे इस देश से।
बलराम जाखर जी इस देश के एक महान नेता थे, किसानों के नेता थे और विशेषतः सब हम कांग्रेस के एक बहुत प्रमुख नेता थे। जिस तरह उन्होंने ये देश को एक योगदान दिया, विशेषतः किसानों को जो योगदान दिया है वो हम नहीं भूल सकते।
The agriculture minister that we must best remember him for the ministership was only the climax of a lifetime dedicated to the farming community. And the best way in which we could remember him is to ensure that the agricultural economy is given a primacy which is being denied to it in present circumstances.
Time now to take a look at what else has been making news around the country nationwide. The Supreme Court today stayed a Bombay High Court order and allowed the Maharashtra government to hold a Make in India event on the 14th of February. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is slated to attend the event along with the Prime Ministers of 6 other countries. The Bombay High Court had on Thursday denied permission for the event at the Girgaon Chowpatty, following which the government had challenged the decision in Supreme Court. India's first woman chief of a paramilitary force, Archana Ramasundaram, dedicated her appointment as Director General of the Sashastra Seema Bal to all the women of the country. She took charge of her new position in Delhi today. Ramasundaram said she would work for increasing women's representation in the force. The 1980 batch IPS officer was accorded a ceremonial guard of honor by SSB troops at the force's headquarters as she took charge. An election commission team is in Kerala on a 3-day visit to review the election preparedness of the poll-bound state. The election commission will interact with officers of the state administration and other stakeholders, including political parties. The 3 election commissioners, along with other senior officers of the poll panel, are also likely to visit Tamil Nadu and Puducherry next week. Pakistan High Commissioner Abdul Basit called actor Anupam Kher and expressed regret over the visa denial to the actor. Kher, however, declined the offer, saying that he'd already given those dates away for some other function. Anupam Kher was on Tuesday denied a visa to take part in the Karachi Literature Festival, while 17 of the other Indian invitees were granted visas. Time for us to take a short break. Lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
India's biggest newsmakers. Opinion makers of the day.
I had 2 questions.
India, we all know we have been having
The focus is really on highways.
They are not stepping out and say that we will do it.
Indirect interaction.
You can donate eye, but you cannot donate vision. The lack of the vision is an important problem in the country.
RSTV takes television programming to a whole new level. Watch Transport Minister Nitin Gadkari in full flow on Spotlight, Thursday at 10 p.m.
Hello, I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Shyam Sundar,
Vishal Dahiya,
Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira from Beijing, China.
Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television. We bring to you
the news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV. Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Now, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari today arrived in Bangkok on a 3-day visit to Thailand. The Vice President will hold discussions on a range of issues with the country's top leaders to boost bilateral ties. Ansari was received at the airport by Thailand's Deputy Prime Minister Prajin Juntong. He will have a one-on-one meeting with the Thai Prime Minister Prayut Chonacha, who will also host a banquet in his honor. The Vice President will have an audience with Princess Mahachakri Sirindron, besides delivering a lecture at the Chulalongkorn University in Bangkok on From Look East to Act East. Now, the United States today reported its first case of sexually transmitted Zika virus. That's in Dallas. The U.S. Center for Disease Control said the patient's partner had returned from Venezuela. The WHO has already declared a global public health emergency as the disease spreads rapidly through the Americas.
The Zika scare is spreading rapidly across the globe. On Tuesday, the US reported a rare case of sexually transmitted Zika disease. The Dallas City patient who had not traveled to any infected areas was not bitten by a mosquito. The patient's partner had, however, returned from Venezuela, prompting experts to conclude the virus was transmitted sexually. Texas has seen 7 Zika cases so far, all related to foreign travel.
With Zika, we don't know exactly how long someone can remain infectious, but in this case, as we understand it, someone had just gotten sick with Zika and that individual's sexual partner then developed Zika without a travel history. The CDC laboratory confirmed that both individuals do have recent Zika infection.
As a precaution, the American Red Cross is urging people returning from Zika-hit countries to wait 28 days before donating blood. Brazil is the worst hit by the outbreak. With 3,670 suspected cases, 404 cases have been confirmed so far. Brazil's President Dilma Rousseff said the government will do everything to combat the mosquito that transmits the virus.
Vamos fazer uma parceria com o governo americano, com o presidente Obama, que nós conversamos, para estabelecer a nossa capacitação no sentido, e para melhorá-la, no sentido
The WHO is warning of the likely spread of the Zika virus to Africa and Asia.
Complications of this relatively mild illness do have potentially devastating effects for families. To have a child with microcephaly and to have a tenfold increase in numbers and the potential for spread, not just across Latin America, but into Africa, into Asia, which have the highest birth rates in the world.
Australia recently confirmed 2 cases of the Zika virus. Both residents recently returned from the Caribbean. Zika is also suspected in 2 unrelated cases in Ireland. Ecuador has reported 22 cases, including 1 relating to a pregnant woman. Health officials say the virus is transmitted by the Aedes mosquitoes that causes microcephaly and severe brain damage in newborns. The latest development has put the US health officials on high alert. They are treating it at the same category of concern as Ebola. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And in a world gripped by the Zika scare, India had a spot of good news with a Hyderabad-based company reporting that it had developed a vaccine to fight the virus. Scientists at Bharat Biotech said they submitted 2 vaccine candidates to the government for patents. Preclinical studies will be conducted in the next 5 months on the vaccines, one of which is inactivated and the other recombinant. The recombinant vaccine is produced through DNA technology. The company said it is looking forward to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's approval to expedite regulatory clearances. If approved, they will be able to manufacture up to 1 million doses in the coming months. Some more international news now in Global Buzz. The UN-mediated Syrian peace talks struggle to continue in the second day. The UN envoy is scheduled to meet with the opposition delegation for a second time on Tuesday. According to him, talks to broker peace for the war-torn country are still in their preliminary stages. China said it was concerned by reports that North Korea plans to launch a satellite. North Korea notified UN agencies that it planned to launch an Earth observation satellite in February. Japan placed its military on alert, while South Korea warned that it will pay a severe price if it proceeds. Death sentences of 149 activists of the banned Muslim Brotherhood were revoked in Egypt. The court also ordered a retrial in which the defendants were accused of killing 13 policemen and attacking a police station in 2013. The initial ruling came in February 2015 amid a series of death sentences in mass trials that were criticized internationally. Yahoo has said that it will cut about 15% of its workforce and close offices in 5 locations after its shares fell 1.4% on Tuesday. The company said it will simplify its product portfolio and had started to explore divesting non-strategic assets. Oil cast a cloud over Asian markets again after prices fell back below $30 a barrel. The plunge in oil prices to 12-year lows has sent ripples through world markets, wiping trillions of dollars off share valuations and raising fears of a recession. Time now for all the sports action in Sports Beat. A British woman of Indian origin filed a written complaint with the Ludhiana police accusing Indian hockey team captain Sardar Singh of sexually harassing her. The 21-year-old woman, who is also an international hockey player, said she met Sardar during the London Olympics in 2012 and got engaged to him in 2012. She accused Sardar Singh of refusing to marry her, forcing her to abort her child. Sardar Singh denied the allegations. Israr Ali, a member of Pakistan's first ever test squad, passed away in his hometown of Okara in the Punjab province of Pakistan. He was 88. Born on the 1st of May 1927 in Jalandhar, Israr played 2 tests against Australia in 1959 before ending his test career with 6 wickets. The medium-pace bowler also appeared in 40 first-class matches and claimed 114 wickets at an average of 22.63, making 1,130 runs at an average of 20.54. He appeared in Pakistan's first test 60 years ago. Barcelona and Brazil star striker Neymar suffered a fresh legal blow on Tuesday when prosecutors filed a tax fraud and forgery case against him. The 23-year-old and his family denied any wrongdoing over alleged irregularities in the superstar signing for Barcelona in 2013. But hours after he gave testimony in Spain, a new front opened up as federal prosecutors in Brazil launched proceedings against him and his father. Well, that's all from us. Goodbye.